Well, Rob's always in the thick of something. In the German Masters, he walked out, and because he had his mask on, because wasn't quite watching what was happening, and sort of stepped into the set and very stylishly managed to avoid basically pulling the lot down, including himself.
Well, I can speak from painful experience that some of those lights, when they're facing in the opposite direction, can trip you up. I was on the way to the commentary box for the Champion of Champions this season, late last year, and walked straight into one. My ankle knew about it, I can tell you. Oh, what a great pot from Williams. What a pot. Chalk and cheese to what he did in that first match. Let's hope he can bring about a wholesale improvement.
I think Dominic had it right, though. There's something about playing trump that gets people on edge. Williams has got that ordeal out the way early. Trademark red from him. He's always been such a terrific potter from distance. Well, I'm not sure if you can see this red. At least he's not running around the table now. That's all stopped, isn't it? One point last night he was trying to make a century as the clock was ticking down, and he was haranguing the referee to get the balls back on their spots. This is just awkward to get to. Well, he did this last night. He held the rest in the air on a shot. He's doing it again. There's not many people would do this. But it was quite risky, wasn't it? Because if you miss the red, you're leaving it close to the pocket.
Yeah, that one's not been touched, so Jack just swaps it over.
Well, he's used Jack's rest, but because Jack haven't used Mark's rest, they can swap them over.
Mark Williams,
they can't touch each other's equipment, if you know what I mean.
What?
Jack Lisowki up to 11 in the world now after those two finals.
6.
Although he's still battling to get to the Crucible as a seed, because he's got these China Open points coming off from 2 years ago. Got to the final there. Yeah, meantime,
Jack Lisowski 6.
That didn't come to much, that opening.
I'll tell you what, he's being industrious here, Rob Spencer, here, there and everywhere.
Can hear every word. Can you just keep it down a bit?
I thought we could hear some noise from backstage. Honestly, folks, it's not myself and Dave. We're very quiet and well away from the tables.
Whoever it was, they've been admonished by a former policeman, Rob Spencer.
What?
That's a great pot from Williams as well. Really got into the cue ball nicely there. Been relatively quiet of late, Mark Williams. He's been relatively quiet really since he won that third world title 3 years ago in such wonderful fashion. He caught the yellow there. Is he on the red? If not, there are reds to this right corner, the other end of the table. He often has a look as if he's not on it and then gets down and knocks it in, but well, we'll see. He's given every impression it might not go, but he's still queuing up to it. And knocks it in.
7.
I think there's a disparity in the speed of the two tables today. This one seems to be running quicker than table 2. Mark Selby was making that observation to me maybe 10-15 minutes ago.
12.
Although he won his first match against Jack Lisowki, he said the table was very heavy and sluggish. That was on table 2, of course.
13.
Not that it's too much of a problem for Kyron Wilson, who now leads Barry Hawkins 2-1. Hawkins led 1-0, but then Wilson made breaks of 87 and 56 to nudge ahead. He didn't time that one well at all.
80. Matt Williams 80.
He was always going to take it on. Full-blooded, but he's not in. So Mark Williams gets another opening. Williams at 14 in the world rankings as this event begins. Of course, this isn't a ranking tournament this time.
What?
But I think the players are more aware, as I say, of that. The next big revision is for the Crucible. It's who gets seeded at Sheffield and who has to qualify. Well, Williams caught the brown there. Now, is he still on this red?
6.
Looks like it.
Seven.
Yes, so in the race to the Crucible rankings, the latest list, provisional list, Williams is 12th. He's looking very good to be seeded. Jack Lisowski's 19th. So he's got work to do at the tournaments in the run into the Crucible to avoid having to qualify.
What I'm going to say now might sound nonsensical, but I think every snooker fan would
12.
understand it. Basically, these days there are more than 16 top 16 players. They can't all fit into that elite group, and so that race for the Crucible is going to be very keenly fought. And what it means is that some people are going to miss out, and therefore it's going to enhance the quality and the enjoyment of the qualifying competition, which I think this year could be one of the best ever. The best ever form of Mark Williams hasn't been on display so far this morning, and another mistake there.
What?
Yeah, it's been a bit of a scratchy start. I mean, look at that shot. You know, you'd think the yellow, at least, was absolutely guaranteed, but in fact he's glued to the blue. So an uncertain start. Two players have already been beaten, of course, today. He's never knocked the yellow in. Oh,
Oh.
Jack. Wow.
Lisowski 1. Matt Williams 5.
Not his best ever visit, I think it's fair to say. He's been put back in. This, of course, the last match of this session. We've got 3 more tonight, including first up at 6, Trump v Lisowski. Another meeting between those two.
Is that Lisowski 4?
Well, he's been a bit fortunate, actually, that red in bulk is not potable with the cue ball going in off. They've both got the same strategy in this match, it seems. Take their shots on, but it's a little inconsistent in terms of A, whether they're going in, and B, then what happens if they do get in. The breaks aren't really flowing, so rather scrappy start by both players.
Very similar, in fact, to the first frame between Williams and Trump, which Trump won. Low scoring affair with a high break of 30.
What?
That's more like it, Jack. At his best, Lisowki is a joy to behold. He really is.
Four. Five. Twelve.
Well, that shot, really the story of the frame. Players are getting in and they're not making much from the openings, and there's been so many in this frame. Williams is 20 in front.
Oh.
But Mark Williams, throughout his career, and this is a compliment, it doesn't sound like one, but I'll explain it, he's made a habit of winning bad frames. He's won frames in tournaments that are completely forgettable, but they all stack up. They all count the same as making centuries. And when, in the past, he's won tournaments, he's often started slowly, but then he gets to quarters and semis and, of course, finals, and he really turns it on and can be unbeatable then. So it's a good asset to have. Not everyone's had it. You look at Stephen Hendry, he wasn't necessarily that adept at winning the really scrappy ones.
Yes, he's won 22 world ranking titles, the first of which was the Welsh Open on home soil 25 years ago. And when he won that, he had to play 6 matches. His highest break in all 6 matches combined, 76. The late Willie Thorne very famously said, "Congratulations to Mark Williams, but he'll have to improve his break building or he'll never win one again." He didn't just win one more, he won a whole lot more. He's that kind of player, he can just identify a frame for what it is, a frame, regardless of how it pans out.
Well, this one's been scrappy, but he needs this red, and Jack Lisowki needs snookers. So,
80.
a bucket load of chances on both sides, but looks like it's going to the Welshman.
90. $26.
39 the lead, with 35 on. Well, actually, with that black going on, obviously it's 46, so it's 3 snookers required.
Mark Williams 26 on the first frame.
Lisowki, I don't think he enjoyed that frame at all, and he has lost it now. Mark Williams, who just carved out a little lead, has done enough in that visit to win it and lead this match 1-0. Front centre, and of course many millions watching around the world on television.
And I can tell you this, when you commentate with Stephen Hendry and a shot like the black that he missed is left on for someone else, he always remembers it, and clearly not in a kindly way. It was a real blow to him.
Well, if he didn't remember it, Mark would remind him, because that's what he's like. Played the cross double.
Now there is some form of angle here on this red to get out for the black. Needs to be accurate though. At that pace, you need to be on the button.
One.
It's interesting, of course, next week it's the Welsh Open, and Williams is still the only Welsh player to have won that tournament. It's been going now best part of 30 years, first held 92, so he's had a couple of successes there, but the only Welshman to have threatened to win it, actually. Only one to have reached the final, apart, of course, we mustn't forget Darren Morgan in the first year, lost to Stephen Hendry.
60.
Good split here would be golden. Well, that's more than acceptable. He didn't move a great amount of reds.
24.
But he'll settle for that every day of the week, even though he has got to use the spider. It's a little trickier than I first thought, actually, in fairness to Mark Williams here. Not just the spider needed, the actual branding iron, which makes the complexity of the shot multiply. So difficult to side properly.
25.
Now, had he potted that into the heart of the pocket, the cue ball would have swung a little wider and been on the black. As it is, end of break.
Mark Williams, 25.
Well, as Lisowki plays into them, I can tell you that Kyron Wilson needs the green to beat Barry Hawkins 3-1, and it's basically unmissable. So it's a good performance from Wilson. Of course, he won the Championship League in its last staging back in October when it was a world ranking event. One thing for Kyron, it's not far for him from where he lives. It's about 45 minutes, so okay, he'd rather be in different venues around the world, I'm sure, but in terms of Milton Keynes, it's not far for him to travel. Has to stay in the bubble, of course, while he's in the event. Oh, what a pot from Lisowki. Brilliant. And that's what he's capable of, just knocking those in nicely on the blue. So is this the start of something finally in this match?
Six. Seven.
Here's the red again. Fetch that one out. So Kyron Wilson has beaten Hawkins and will stay on to play Tom Ford in the next match.
Inspirational players thrive on inspirational shots. Is that going to be the catalyst for Jack Lisowki to engage a couple of higher gears?
50.
Well, he's certainly easy on the eye, isn't he, when he's playing well? He's got
20.
a lovely natural style. Someone emailed me actually not so long ago and said he reminded them of David Gower, the former England batsman, who is known again for being very nice to watch, although sometimes got himself out a bit cheaply.
26.
I've actually made that comparison on commentary before, Dave. Honestly, the amount of times that people used to say, "Oh, he's phenomenal to watch, Gower. Makes a century. Everyone loves him." If he gets to say 30 or 40 and gets caught in gully playing an extravagant shot, everyone criticises him. And it's exactly the same thing with Lisowki. When he's playing well, we all gush and say,
35.
fantastic to watch, which he is, but he does infuriate.
Well, he's just got to take care here because he's got in with a fantastic red. He's got them where he wants them. He's been playing some terrific stuff of late.
42.
Of course, it was a disappointment in the end, that final of the German Masters. 9-2, he lost to Trump. I think a lot of people felt that could be his day, or certainly it would be a lot closer than that, but he just didn't really perform.
43.
But in general, he's having a good run. And when he wins frames in one visit, they don't take long, do they?
48.
Just about struggled in. We knew when he stayed down on the shot, he wasn't quite sure it was going to be a close one.
$56. $57.
The most elementary of frame balls coming up.
62. 63.
Jack's back on to level terms.
Just a lovely frame to watch. Lovely visit.
70. 71.
I'll tell you what, the centuries are really flowing in this year's Championship League.
77.
We had 53 of them in the first three groups combined,
79.
and already in evidence here today.
82. 86.
Blue, pink and black for his 20th century of the season.
91.
Hasn't he taken these well? Got in with a fantastic red. Just made it look ridiculously easy.
97.
Bit different to the first frame where everything looked difficult. Wonderful clearance of 104 from Jack Lisowki. That's exactly what he was looking for. Of course, he lost the first match. He lost the first frame of this match. But that is how you level up in style. Fantastic. So it's 3 centuries now. Today, of course, Trump's had the other 2. Then you're going to be in these events and you're going to be winning a lot of money as well. That's the other thing. The official rankings are worked out over 2 years, but the 1-year ranking list is used for the Kazoo Series, the World Grand Prix, the Players' Championship and the Tour Championship. And as Phil says, they go from 32 to 16 players to 8, so it gets more and more elite as you go along.
And just one side note on that Kazoo series. Ryan Day was nowhere near qualifying for the World Grand Prix, and now he's going to be in the Players' Championship as a result of last night's triumph in the shootout. So, congratulations to him.
Well, just to make your head spin a bit more, Phil, of course, also Mark Selby getting to the final closes in on Judd Trump on another list, yet another list, the BetVictor European Series, which is a 6-tournament series. 2 are left, the Welsh and Gibraltar Open. So there's all these subplots going on outside of just the matches. It keeps the pot boiling, I think, and it gives players things to aim at and incentives. Amazing to think it used to be your ranking just stuck for the whole season. No matter what you did, whether you won lots of tournaments, maybe didn't win a match, you were ranked there the whole season. Now, everyone's on their toes. And there's all these sundry benefits as well. Jack Lisowki is knocking them in today, isn't he? Another wonderful red. After that great century, which started with a terrific opening red in the last frame. So having struggled in the first frame, he's now making amends. Worth seeing again, this. Just beautiful cueing. Struck it so sweetly.
Five.
Well, he's kept it going. I mean, he didn't play on that red. Now, where's the white? Is it going in? Well, it's not, but how do you fancy this next shot? It's going to have to be a safety, surely.
Going towards the pocket, it had no chance of falling that wide, but with the side on the ball, it nearly went in. Oh, Dave, what can you say about that one? He's just knocking them in for fun. And it was all started by that wonderful Catalyst red.
8.
To initiate the century in the previous frame.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought it was very risky, that yellow, but it doesn't matter if you can pop them. And he did, and that's how he plays. Fair enough. If you can knock them in, guaranteed to be leaving the frame on if you miss. But he didn't miss. Cue ball in the jaws of the pocket. This had to go in.
40.
And it did.
$50.
His average shot time is under 15 seconds. 14.6 seconds. Lisowki.
80. $90.
Rob Spencer just looking to see whether the black will go back on its own spot. Of course, now he's got unlimited time to be able to work things out like this. It won't, it goes on the pink. But in the shootout, the referees were under so much pressure when it came to decisions of that ilk. You might think the most pressurised event to referee would be a World Final or a Masters Final in front of so many people. I think you speak to the referees and they would all say the most pressurised tournament is the shootout.
Maybe just a little less pressurised this year without a crowd, who are often well watered.
33.
Well, Lisowki now, like a man possessed, isn't he? Got that real spring in his step.
40.
Everyone in the history of this game, in fact, everyone in the history of every game, has off days. But certain players in snooker over the years, historically, the difference between their best and their worst has been a chasm. Massive. And I think Lisowki is one of those. At his best, well, he's mesmerisingly good. But playing with an awful lot of side there to go into the bunch.
Lisowki 40.
He increased the difficulty of the pink and it stayed on the table. Yes, it wasn't the pot itself, it was the unnatural angle that he had to try and make with side to go into the bunch. He's actually fortunate that, having careered into those reds, he's not left anything on.
Well, Mark Williams, I think, just happy to see the table again. I think sat out a frame and a half. Some dazzling potting from his opponent. Oh, here's a little bit more dazzling potting from Jack Lisowki. The old school thing here to do would be to try and put a colour safe with a 42-point lead. He's knocked the pink in instead. He thought about the safety, didn't he? But that's a terrific pot. The red was good, the pink excellent, because he's leaving the red to the middle. Just in a mood to take them on again. This is not guaranteed, and as I say, if he misses it, he's leaving this pot on for Williams. Rob Spencer, meanwhile, has got to get the pink into position here. Lisowki now looking at a plant, I think. Yeah, he's playing the plant.
Eight.
Well, the body of evidence is now clear. It's not all about safety for him. It's all about potting. That's the unmitigated game plan.
Just overrun a little bit here. He's on the red on the right hand side. I think the thing is though, if you make your mind up that's how you're going to play, it just eliminates the bit of doubt in your mind whether you should be playing that way or not. He's decided this is the game plan today.
30.
Now then, this hasn't finished too good, and he's going to need another red. Taking the green on. Yeah, he could have finished better on it, of course. Leads by 54 with 59 on.
And the lack of position is because he missed the green by so far. well by potting that and presumably the green next. That leaves him with no real room for manoeuvre when it comes to colours, taken with the last 3 reds.
Well, that's right, he has to pot this, otherwise he needs a snooker, so he's got to go in. Well, I'm not sure he's playing it, is he? He's playing the snooker. Sorry, he is playing it. Yeah, I'd be surprised if he didn't, because he needed the points.
Four.
So the deficit for Williams is 50 points, 51 on. He needs 3 reds, 3 blacks and all the colours to nick it by a point.
Five. Well,
he's exactly the man to sort of make these little clearances, isn't he, under pressure?
30.
Lisowki just kept on going and going and going for his shots, eventually missed that tricky green. He'd got plenty before then, of course.
So often in his career, Williams has been a cat burglar when it comes to frames. Winning frames he's got no right to win.
21.
And this could be another that has gone in the direction everyone thought wasn't going to be the case. In a clearance, the black to yellow, or the high value colour to yellow, is always crucial, and he's played that pretty well.
The 6 colours for a great steal for the Welshman. If you're just joining us,
30.
both Williams and Lisowki lost their opening matches, so whoever loses this match is in early trouble in the group.
$33. 37.
He's known for his coolness, his poise.
42.
This has been an excellent clearance from Mark Williams. He needed the blacks, of course, the deficit as it was when he came to the table, and he's played it perfectly. What a steal. Jack Lisowki was on the rampage, wasn't he, knocking everything in. He didn't pot that green, though, to keep the break going. Williams have stepped in that last session. It was 3 years ago now. So he leads 2-1 after that good dish. Will that clearance make any difference to Lisowski's approach? Because it's been all out attack so far. Not really turned anything down.
Whoa.
He was always going to take that one on because there's a degree of safety to it, playing back to Bulk.
Brown ball.
That is what's known as a safety shot.
The one to the right of the blue. Yeah. Thanks, Mark. Thank you.
Lots is made about players as they get older losing their eyesight. Had to catch that one really, really thin and played it to perfection.
He's okay. That cue ball was rather close to the corner pocket. Hasn't dropped. I think he said I'm waiting for the beeps to go off. That's of course a reference to the shootout.
Still got it in your head.
Of course, he was in the semis just last night, and even without a crowd, it was still, because of the format, it was still a frenetic, rather frenzied 4 days. Mark was right in the thick of it.
The guy is just so dangerous. The tariff on that shot was really high and he made it look preposterously easy with position attached on the black.
Eight. Lisowki.
It's a telltale sign when players aren't quite sure whether the ball is going to go in or not. They stay down on the shot. On a club table with the nap, that might have just drifted down enough to fall in off the far jaw, but not on these cloths.
One.
Well, to borrow a basketball term, that was all net.
Eight. Nine.
There's the red in question. And now, what an opportunity to, for the second time in the match, get back all square.
Needs to take care though, doesn't he? Because what happened in the last frame was he lost ideal position. He ended up with a green that was pretty low tariff. I mean, he potted a lot of good balls up to that point, but needs to try and keep tight control of the cue ball now. Stay in nicely, make a nice break, and make it 2-2.
snag here. This is horrible cueing.
17.
The pot in itself is tough enough. To have any thought of positional ambition, even more so. The key here, if possible, just keep things as simple as you like. Maybe the brown would be a viable alternative. Okay, it's thin, but at least there's no hampering.
This is the problem though, if you end up losing ideal position, it gets harder and harder to keep things going. Keep control of the white, so your next shot is more difficult, and then the shot after that is more difficult, and eventually you break down. That was the problem in the last frame. Still on this one though. Just brushed the black, but he's okay, he's on it. Tom Ford's going to win the first against Karen Wilson on table 2. Of course, Ford was beaten by Trump. Wilson, though, defeated Barry Hawkins.
$29. $30.
It's one of those groups where there's no respite, no breather whatsoever. And that's why anyone who loses their first 2 matches is going to be bang under it. That's going to be the fate of either Lisowki or Williams.
35.
Yes, losing your first 2 and still
36.
progressing, that's feasible. But you don't want to be in that hole. You do not want to be there.
No, Lisowski's next match is against Trump. Well, he's missed that one.
So Lisowki 36.
So, just as things were looking good to force the decider, black off the spot missed. He covered the pocket with it, that's the only good news, really. Say that, of course, Williams was playing in the shootout. Hussain Vafai potted a red past the black to the opposite corner, which still was a bit mystifying how it went in. I mean, it was a big pocket, is the answer, but it didn't look like it went. In fact, Mark didn't know it had gone in. He came back to he came to the table to play his shot. It's not good at all, is it? You know, as long as you get the cue ball back down to ball, you're not going to leave a red on because the black's blocking the pocket. It's the only real way that could have gone wrong was the shot he's played there. Williams doesn't fancy taking that red to the middle, though. Oh, he's played the shot that I mentioned before,
What?
the big pocket shot.
And from big pocket to big trouble for Lisowki.
Mark Williams one.
He's a wily character, isn't he, Mark Williams? He knows all the little moves. Very good at just taking control of a frame. We call it single ball potting. Can either get you in for a break, or in a situation like this, you lay the snooker, you lay the trap. Lisowki could have stuck that red on another day. He could have potted it, actually. But Williams, as I say, he knows all the moves. It's such a good shot. He wasn't sure, was he? I don't think anyone was till the last moment when it dropped. So he's in. Stole the last frame with a good clearance. If he does the same here, he's the winner of the match.
Well, no obvious issues apart from the two reds basically touching each other. Everything else there for Williams.
Seven. $12. 13.
Now this next shot could be critical.
90.
Wanted to pot that slightly thinner than he did.
20.
Had he done so, he would have made the cannon on the two reds together and split them apart. Can't see how he can continue the break now in terms of breaking them up. Of course, the left-hand red would go to the left-hand middle pocket, but that's a very extravagant shot. Getting the snooker in behind the line of brown, blue and pink seems more sensible to me.
Mark Williams 20.
Let Lisowki do his bidding, break them up for him. Come into my parlour, said the spider to the fly. Cue ball a little close to the red though, one has to say.
Well,
The old maestro, eh, Dave?
Well, very much so. I mean, Lisowski's a fantastic talent, but Mark Williams has got so much ring craft.
yeah.
He's a cunning sort of player, isn't he? And he's got his chance here. He's just having the blue clean, spotted something on it. think you fancy if he gets nicely on the red, he probably wins. Cue ball's got to travel. That's maybe the only issue here. Doesn't want it stuck on the cushion.
6.
Which it's not, but it's still slightly awkward. In it goes, though. What a chance now.
Potting the yellow immediately after the last red, so it will come back up on the table.
No.
And he will need the lot.
11.
Well, he made that great 55 clearance in the last frame. Lisowki again attacking in this frame.
14.
But Mark Williams has shown his experience again, crafting these chances and then taking them.
80.
Well, he was very poor in his first match. This one, though, the real Mark Williams has stood up. He's a little short there, though. Wants that cable to travel.
The black for victory for Mark Williams' first point, and it means, of course, Jack Lisowki will have played 2, lost 2. Next for him, Judd Trump. So he's stolen 2 frames quite superbly. Mark Williams, the 3 times World Snooker champion, gets his first point of Group 4 of the BetVictor Championship League. 2 brilliant steals. He beats Jack Lisowki by 3 frames to 1. That concludes this session.